So going over my week 1 prep real quick, I'm playing Schmidt this week, and first off we have Tinkaton. So we're bringing Fake Out, Gigaton Hammer, Helping Hand, and Knockoff. So a couple notable calcs: Gigaton Hammer does one-shot Vivillon if Sash is broken, Gigaton Hammer does one-shot Mamoswine if Snow is not up, and Gigaton Hammer does one-shot Hatterene if it is only 32 HP 2 defense. Tinkaton mostly here for fake out support, but can also deal some decent damage, and then Knockoff obviously for good utility, and it can help with Scarfers that might otherwise threaten the rest of the team. Next up we have Mega Sceptile, which for this week we're running 3 attacks and detect. Some notable calcs for Sceptile this week: it can one-shot Mamoswine with Grass Knot, it can pretty much always one-shot Blastoise with Grass Knot, and it can reliably 2-shot Rotom Heat. Incineroar is kind of an interesting set this week, so we have the Lumberry because of Vivillon, so I essentially don't really have great pivots into Sleep Powder on my team, so we're taking the Lumberry, but we're also a little bit offensive here, so as you can see, it's 104 speed, which will outspeed max speed Vivillon and Mamoswine after an Icy Wind, and offensively, it can threaten Mamoswine with an Oko if it's not Thick Fat, and we'll know that if when I swap Incineroar in, Intimidate doesn't hit. Defensively, it can live an Earthquake from non-intimidated Mamoswine, no problem. Incin is kind of a jack of all trades here, but I think overall the set is pretty good. Next we have our other Mega Gengar, making its debut. So again, running Protect and 3 attacks. So Helping Handed T-Bolt, I feel like I needed for Blastoise Mega because I don't really have any other answers on my non-Megas. So if I leave Sceptile at home and I bring the Gengar, I do need something for endgame Blastoise since this is only Mega. Modest Shadow Ball will always kill Goldango, and Shadow Ball will also one-shot Hatterene if it is 32 HP. Next up we have Alolan Ninetales, so as you can see it is Scarfed this week, and that's because I'm kind of afraid of Scarfed Vivillon and Scarfed Mamoswine. So essentially, if he leads Vivillon Mamoswine, I can outspeed both. If it's Scarfed Viv, I can threaten the one-shot on it so that it can't get Sleep Powders down on my team. It will also pretty comfortably 2-shot Mamoswine that is sashed after a Fake Out, and Freeze Dry is also great into Mega Blastoise. So lastly we have Palafin. So I kind of don't have great answers to Mamoswine on my team. It is kind of an Achilles heel with its typing, so maybe we can get Palafin in and out and then threaten it with a Jet Punch because there is a guaranteed kill there. We also have a 68% chance to Oko 32 HP Rotom Heat, and pretty much we're always going to live max Rotom Heat Volt Switch. So that's what we're headed into game with. Let's get to it. Alright, so it looks like he brought pretty much everything I was expecting, except he brought more Pekko instead of Hatterene. So I think we just go with the lead that I expected. Go Gengar Incin game 1, and let's play it from there. So one of the pretty expected leads here. So here I kind of have a couple options. Fake Out plus 2 Blizzards will kill Mamoswine if it's not Thick Fat. Or I can try to rip an Icy Wind. I think I kind of want to just get damage down and see who protects. Okay. So we know it's probably Scarfed on Rotom. And we know it's probably Sash on Mamo, which is really good information. So I think I'm definitely eating an Overheat on Ninetales here. I could swap in Incin, but then I'm eating probably an EQ. I think swap in Incin just to confirm that it's Oblivious, and then knock off the Scarf over here. Alright, and it's Oblivious on Mamo, so we know it's not Thick Fat. It's not Scarfed on Rotom, it's Pasho, okay. He protects again on that slot. That's okay. Because this is a pretty neutral turn. I think... So what does he potentially have in the back? I don't really need Intimidate for anything else. I'm kind of down to sack Instant off here. And then just go for a Giga... Oh, I can't Gigaton Hammer that right. And then just knock off whatever's on the Mamo so I can get that information. Never melt ice. Okay. So it's not sashed. So we're getting a lot of good info here, and they can't switch out before I lock them in with Gengar, which is really nice. The main thing I have to be careful of here is that I am scarfed on Ninetales, and so I'm not going to be able to pick a different move once I pick one. Let me just look at my calcs real quick and see how much Shadow Ball does to a potential Mamo. It does 79 Mineral. Okay. So I think Shadow Ball plus Blizzard is probably my best move, because that covers on the switch. Yeah, it actually has to be. That should put it in Shadow Ball range. Oh wait, he has Light Screen. I'm actually such an inter. 5%. Yeah, and I don't live that. Okay. Well, I know it's not Sash on Mamo. So I think that makes it relatively easy to play. I also know it's not Scarfed on Rotom. We at least get to see one thing in the back, I think. Unless... No, this probably kills me, right? Well, he's got to pick something, even though it kills me, I think. Nope, never mind. Alright, we got some decent info, though. We know it's Light Screen on Rotom. We know both of the items because of the knockoff on Tink. So how do we adapt? Since I know it's not Scarfed, Instant Lead becomes a little bit easier. The Rotom is still a problem for my Ninetales. He hasn't revealed anything else on Mamo. I know it's not Scarfed. Or I know it's not Sash, rather. So if I can ever get Palafin in, this thing will start doming. Yeah, he doesn't even have his Trick Room mode. So I guess, like, Tinkaton for the Tailwind block is still good. Since it's not Sash on Mamo, I would expect it to be on Morpeko or Viv. But I also don't think that he goes back to the same thing twice. I think Ensign feels kind of lackluster here, but at the same time, it's like... I panicked. I think it's okay, but it's definitely not ideal. The Rotom hasn't shown Protect, so I'm going to try to deal some damage to it before it gets light screen up here. I also have to be really careful of Scarfed Goldengo here. So I think it's a hard swap into Incin and then Fake Out over here. You went for a nasty plot. Okay. So we know it's not Scarf. It's probably Life Orb. Life Orb, unless it's Power Gem, should never kill Incin. It's Kasib. Okay, so it's Ghost Resist. So that's actually really good to know. This probably kills Tank. Yep. I think I have to go Gengar here. And then I think it should always be Parting Shot here. And I don't think this thing can live Shadow Ball even through Light Screen, so if it's Protect Volt Switch, that's okay. If it's Protect Light Screen, I think that's still fine. If he doesn't Protect, okay. That's still fine. Because like I said, I don't think there's a world where it's ever living with Kasib gone. And then I think I want to just go back into Incin to get Palafin activated. And let me just check my calc. That's short for calculator. So it looks like Shadow Ball does 132, 111 on a min roll. I think that should always kill. Yep. So we know it's never Melt Ice on Mamo. I think I want to Fake Out here. Swap might be an overread. Well, what's his Mega in the back? It's gotta be Blastoise, right? I think Sludge Bomb here is fine. This is Volt Switch. Yeah. Interesting. So he's going no Mega. Wow, that para is so bad for me, actually. Because I think he just Rage Powders me. So, alright, so it's just Protect on this slot to get my Palafin in. Hopefully I don't get parried again. Yep, it's going to be Rage Powder, so... It's definitely sashed on Viv. So I think I'm kind of in a pin. Don't want to take the recoil. Maybe it can clutch it out. And then just see if I can get another Protect. Nope. I don't think I can take another one. I don't actually know how much PP EQ has in this format. I feel like I have to gamble on whether or not Drain Punch can kill Viv from 21. I don't think it does. So I think I'm just f***ed. Especially after Life Orb recoil, I think I just die. Ironically, I think if I live this turn, it's winnable, but I don't think I do. Unless he low rolled out his ass last time. No, because it's single target as well. Yeah, it's actually such a tough matchup. Hey, it is what it is. GG's to Schmidt. Flaws in my type chart showing on that one. That's why I made a couple trades, but I gotta get it next week. So I just want to take a second to look at the defensive type chart for the 6 that I brought this week. So as you can see, there's a big glaring red 3 there under ground. Not the most ideal setup to be going into against a Mamoswine. Sceptile is also quad weak to ice. So that was really an Achilles heel for my team, and it was a large part of the reason why I made so many trades, is it didn't feel like I actually had many tools this week to play the game. That also was made more difficult by the fact that I couldn't intimidate the Mamoswine, which is a very isolated problem to Mamoswine, but I still think it was something that I definitely could have seen coming when I was building the team. A lot of my logic was that Ninetales could take care of most of the ground types, or I could theoretically intimidate most of the ground types, or if there was a ground type that I had a big issue with, my Megas outside of Gengar and Sceptile and Hawlucha would have positive matchups into it. Sceptile resisting ground, Hawlucha being immune to ground, and so I definitely did not think that one through when crafting the team, and so obviously it came to fruition here. Mamoswine is a perfect storm where it threatens both of my other Megas besides Gengar. It threatens with massive ground damage. and it can't be intimidated. And so this week did not feel that easy, but I still think that it could have been winnable had I played to my win conditions. The biggest thing I want to focus on is this Incineroar set. So in hindsight, I feel like the way that I did my prep and the way that I played the game were not one and the same. I feel like I prepped very conditionally for if he leads with Vivillon. I have Blizzard on Ninetales to threaten both Vivillon and a 2-shot on Mamoswine. If he doesn't, I have Icy Wind pressure so that later Incineroar can swap in, eat an Earthquake, and then threaten with Flare Blitz. It also has Lumberry, which subsequently would have solved the T-Wave problem of Rotom in this game. And so I feel like, given how Game 1 went, and even given the leads that were presented to me in Game 1, I feel like I really should have leaned on this Incineroar set a lot more, because it does achieve 3 things that I needed within the game. It does give me a way to consistently outspeed Mamoswine, because it needs to be T-Waved twice for it to stick. It can swap into Mamoswine Earthquake even without the Intimidate. And after an Icy Wind drop, it does give me something offensively that does threaten Mamoswine. And it's not really threatened by Rotom Heat either. And so while I did focus too hard on the Vivillon Mamoswine and the Scarfs on either of those, because obviously there was no Scarf on either one of them, I still think that the set was winnable if I played to my win conditions of saying, I want to get Icy Wind control down onto this Mamoswine unless I need to kill Vivillon, and then I need to use my moves that can threaten it for Okos and kill it. Because Schamidt brought Light Screen, because Schamidt brought T-Wave, obviously that became more difficult for my other Pokemon, but this Incineroar set was really well positioned to do significant work throughout this set, and I don't think that I took advantage of it properly. But I do think it's a good week to identify what you plan in prep. While you can go off script, remember what your win conditions are. The win condition that I went into this week having is getting speed control down on Mamoswine and then being able to one-shot it. But we made some trades, mitigate that ground weakness, and I think overall the team is a lot better going into week 2. So anyways, yapping over. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it.